I want to talk a little bit about making the decision. So, Ali, you mentioned personal values as like a first filter. I was wondering if there were any other ways that you go through filtering or assessing a decision. And then I guess the other part of that is have those changed at different points of your career depending on the opportunity that you're looking at.
I think everyone's filters are going to be a little personal, but there's some that you might be prioritizing over others. I do think there's some that are static almost everywhere, which could be, quality of life, culture, opportunities, like those sorts of things. But I think the very first one, which might be hard to filter on like early on in the process, but making sure you've got the right manager. Ideally, with that opportunity, you want to pick your manager, and that actually can have the biggest impact on whether or not you actually get what you thought you were getting when you were doing this assessment. I think another big one that was a good initial filter for me when I was thinking about what exactly do I want was understanding my own personal risk tolerance.
Mm,
Um, and so that can show up in a few different ways. It could mean like looking at the phase of the company and understanding, how risky would it be to join? It could mean, is this going to be a tumultuous environment or a stable environment? What feels better right now? Or maybe is this opportunity going to stretch me in a brand new way? Or do I feel like my skills are perfectly aligned and I'm going to knock it out of the park? And understanding kind of where you are on some of those various things will also be good because those might change also over time. Like coming out of COVID for me personally, that's around the time that I was looking for a new opportunity. I definitely wanted something that was going to give me the right next opportunities, but I still felt like had some level of stability and I could knock it out of the park knowing that I, mostly work at in the startup space. So I was definitely looking for that, but that might not be the same thing I want for my next job. So being really, really honest with yourself about where you're at with your risk tolerance is great. I think one of the things I recommend for people to do, and I definitely do this as well, to identify what are those filters are create a decision grid, so literally a spreadsheet. And as you're going through various opportunities, start to figure out like what are the things that you might tag each one with. So maybe some straightforward ones could be expected compensation if that's important to you, probably a little bit important to everybody. It could be, what level, does it give me the level that I want? Does it give me the quality of life? Do they have flexible vacation? Or is it 2 weeks? Like, what are the things that matter to you? And start making those assessments. And actually, as you make and start tagging these opportunities, start making these various filters, you'll understand which ones are actually giving you data that's causing you to prioritize your desire for one opportunity over another.
When you've gone through this decision grid, were there any things that surprised you in going through it? Like for me, when we were talking about Drew Dudley, like courage as a personal value was totally off my radar. That one definitely surprised me. Were there any surprises for you?
Yeah, I had one that was a little surprising to me related to my assessment of what quality of life meant relative to work. So time zone selection. I didn't realize that which time zone a company was headquartered in actually had a big impact on whether or not I wanted to work there.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as I was thinking through, do I care that this company is in Atlanta, even if I can work remotely from California, let's say? The answer as I was going through the assessment on my grid, I realized I actually kind of cared because I'm a morning person. And so I wanted to have mornings to myself to catch up and get an edge on work and do the things I needed to do for myself. So I felt like working for a West Coast company in this most recent job search was actually something I prioritized a lot more. And I did not realize that until I really started to compare companies and think about like, do I care about this or not? And the answer turned out to be yes.